channel. Welcome to the video. And today we're going to do a little talking about the difference of how me, myself, Nick, and Dharma over yonder, that guy, got into motorcycling. Why don't we go ahead and start with your experience, and then for perspective we'll use mine.
My family comes from a immigrant engineering background. I'm a first generation immigrant, came to this country when I was really little. And when we were growing up, performance motors wasn't a huge part of my life, of our family life. Like, we had a freaking Ford Taurus as a family car.
The Jelly Bean.
And then another Ford Taurus, and then another Ford Taurus, and then another Ford Taurus. My exposure to motorsports was primarily to two forms of media. Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars, of course, and motorsports being broadcast on television, NASCAR, IndyCar, that sort of thing. Motorcycles, I played a lot of Motor Racer as a kid, but it wasn't a huge part of my upbringing at all. It was just some kind of like, it was as abstract as a fighter jet to me, right?
Right.
That really changed when I saw the movie Tron Legacy. And there's 90 seconds of film towards the beginning of that movie that I believe is the most effective motorcycle industry advertising in the history of film.
Are you talking light bikes, bud?
I'm talking the Ducati Sport 1000 scene at the beginning.
Oh, hell yeah. You know, I thought it was a Scrambler. No, you're right. It's a Sport 1000.
Right. Yeah. And that movie just sums up so much of about what I love. I love video games. I love programming computers. I love the whole open source versus proprietary theme that's got going on in that part of the movie.
Yeah.
And that scene just convinced me that motorcycles are so cool that I said to myself, okay, I'm going to save up, and someday when I can afford to get one, I'll get one and I'm going to ride. Mm-hmm. That was a long time because it took me, a lot of education to be able to get to the point where I could afford a bike.
Yeah.
Eventually it came to a point where I had the money and I was telling myself, okay, as soon as it warms up, I'll go take the class. Then on my way to work that one cold morning, I saw a man on an RC390 out there, and I thought, that's one of the bikes I'm interested in. If he can do it, so can I. Registered for the MSF, took the course, having never touched a bike or driven a manual transmission before. Passed it, not with flying colors, but I passed. Next week, bought an RC390, and that's where I got into it. And the other thing that about my background is that my family, being largely medical professionals, hates motorcycles. They think they're extremely dangerous, and I'll be for sure killed or seriously maimed on them. A few days after I bought my bike, my sister actually called me crying in tears about how I bought this bike. Mm-hmm. My dad was like super against it, but one of the things that I had made sure that I had done before I got into motorcycles was make sure I was financially independent. That this is actually something I hear a lot from other Asian Americans online. Mm-hmm. These are people who are typically in that kind of 18 to 21 range, where they're like, oh yeah, I want to get a bike because they're so cool, but my parents are really against it because I've got really strict Asian parents. What do I do? And my answer to them is, if you're financially independent, go for it. If you're not, don't get a bike. Work really hard, go to school or whatever education you need to get a good job that has enough disposable income that you can totally support yourself. And I know that answer sucks because it means you have to wait a long time to do this cool thing that you really want to do, and you've got to put money away and be patient, and it means that you're putting your dreams off. But motorcycles are cool. It's not worth the damage to your reputation of your family at that stage in your life. Especially if they have the capacity to take away, say, a lot of Asian families, they pay for the kids' college, but if they threaten to take that away because you get a bike, that is an incredibly dumb decision. Your education is going to be worth enough that's going to pay for a lifetime of motorcycling. Don't screw it all up for one cheap-ass bike in college.
Yeah, Nighthawk 250. I completely agree.
So that's part of why it took me so long between the release of Tron Legacy and finally last year getting into bikes, was because I really wanted to make sure I was financially secure enough that I could handle this and take responsibility and deal with the consequences for it.
Right. I totally get that. I mean, your family's a little bit of a, honestly, I'd say they're pretty common. It's a pretty common story from what I hear from other Asian other Asian families, you know.
But yeah, you have a very opposite story where you had a family that was very much a motors family.
Yeah, so when my dad met my mom, he was driving probably one of the coolest cars. I'm still mad that he sold it, but he was driving it's a Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX, the turbo all-wheel drive, a beautiful car. He took really good care of it, and then he sold it for a motorcycle. Actually, I think he sold it for a motorcycle, which was a Yamaha Warrior. Big ass motor in that thing. I can't remember how big it was, but it was like 2 liters or something crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know that they've got big ass motors. I'm not very familiar with the bike, so don't quote me on numbers. Big old motorcycle, drove it around like hell, and then sold it for, basically just got bored of it. When he sold it, he bought 3 dirt bikes. I was about 7 years old at the time, 7 to 8 years old. He bought 3 dirt bikes. They're Chinese dirt bikes. They were, he sold 1 bike for 3. I mean, what are you going to do? He bought an 80cc, a 125, and then a 250.
He went to the store and bought the family 3-pack.
Yeah, the family 3-pack. I'm sorry, I was about 13. My brother was about 7. And that's when we got our first motorcycles. My brother's was automatic, which was weird. It had a CVT, which was awkward for a Chinese motorcycle. It never worked. It was essentially just 1 speed off of the... Oh, hello, Lakai. We went and did the dirt OHV class all together. Give this dude a little wave. We all passed it. It was easy. Taught us all how to ride motorcycles that day, and riding ever since. But yeah, we did a lot of dirt riding and stuff like that, and that's pretty much all we did for fun when it came to me and my dad spending time together.
And that wasn't just riding, that was the mechanical part as well.
Yeah, that was like fixing and cleaning the carburetors, changing wheels, everything. We always did our own oil changes. We never paid anybody for it. I have a picture, I will find it and we'll post it in this video, of my mom got in a car accident. Really slow speed car accident, but it bent the door in our Jelly Bean Taurus. And my dad, instead of paying somebody to fix it, he just went to our friend Danny's house, grabbed an angle grinder, grinded it down until it would close, and we drove it like that, and then a 2x4 to hold the window up. We drove it like that for like a year and a half. I was taught well how to rig things.
So I didn't get taught any of that growing up. It's something I've all learned in the last year how to do, and I'm still learning how to do.
Right.
My parents had different feelings about that. My dad doesn't get why I do this. I had to explain to him time and time again, motorcycle labor is very expensive. My dad has the attitude of, oh, you should just pay someone else to do it.
Right.
My mom has this other totally separate attitude of, I'm really glad you're learning how to do this, do all this yourself.
Right.
Like, I'm not happy that you're riding a motorcycle, but if you're gonna ride a motorcycle, you should know how to fix it.
Right. Especially with motorcycles, I mean, they're pretty reliable nowadays, but back in the day they weren't. They were extremely unreliable, and like it was not uncommon to have to change your own tire in the middle of nowhere, somewhere around Route 80 or something.
Or fix a chain, or
yeah, that's totally something that was, just a fact of life. Nowadays, you could ride this bike probably for 120,000 miles, and it's probably not going to have a problem.
Yeah, you're going to crash a bike long before it wears out.
Right. Lots of bikes on this road today. I've been waving you, pillion. You think you're a biker because you're on the back? I'm just kidding.
Hey, I need to gas up before the canyon runs.
We're totally stealing that dude's spot.
Yeah, we are.
He's a little salty about it.
Yeah, he is.
It's whatever.